So like I mentioned earlier, a lot of my civic engagement comes from just a networking aspect. I just like to meet people, hear what they're about, hear about their lives and what they want, and then just kind of talk it through. Say, what are the things that you hope will change, right? Or what are the things you like or dislike about the current state of things in our city, in our state, in our country, and find out if they are, I don't want to say, let's say, if they are informed. Right. I think the act of being civically engaged requires you to do some research on your own. It asks you to become involved, to put in the effort to learn what people's stances are, what politicians are pushing for, what the history of a particular issue is, so you understand what the trajectory is. And just in the involvement of talking to people and getting to know them, you can find and become more civically engaged with people that agree with you and even with people that don't agree with you. Some of my favorite political conversations with people I don't agree with, right? Trying to get to the root cause of why do we see things differently? Why do you think the thing that I think would be the worst outcome is what you want? I don't get it, right? And we talk it through, have a beer, chill at the bar, and kind of come to a conclusion on that. And a lot of what YP Community is about making those connections, especially among young professionals in the Seattle or Pacific Northwest area, just finding ways for us to come together and talk about the things that matter to us and build some of those connections that let us have the tough conversations and really pressure test the conclusions we've come to, either through nature or nurture.
With United Way of King County, one thing that we're always focusing on is we want to make sure that we're providing opportunities for folks to learn about what's going on in the community. So if you're not familiar with the work that United Way does, we kind of focus on 3 bucket areas, right? So our homelessness work, our work around breaking the cycle of poverty, and our education work. So we're always trying to provide opportunities for folks to go in and listen in from folks that are experts, like Colleen, for example, on our public policy agenda, or other folks that we work with and other nonprofit leaders that we bring in, who can kind of highlight and kind of like what Alex mentioned, talk about historically what we're seeing and what the current issues are around those 3 pieces. So that's one important way for folks to stay up to date with what's going on in the community and learn a little bit about not just what United Way is doing, but what our nonprofit partners are doing, what perhaps our business partners are doing, government, and beyond. So that's one way. So we have speaker series, and if you sign up to be an Emerging Leaders 365, you'll receive lots of opportunities for speaker series. We'll do networking events. Similarly, where we want to make sure that we're providing an opportunity for folks to learn about the community and stay connected to community. I want to highlight a couple other things briefly. Colleen Lang leads our public policy newsletter. So that's a great way for you to stay involved and learn about what United Way of King County cares about and what's going on in the King County community. And the other couple pieces are, we have a Census volunteer opportunity that's coming up. So like what was mentioned earlier, with redistricting coming up in 2021, it's very, very, very important that we fill out the census. I'm not sure if this is still up to date, but right now I think we have the 2nd highest rate of completing the census. I think it's just behind Wisconsin. So if you haven't filled out the census yet, please do, and perhaps think about volunteering to really push out census outreach so that we can beat Wisconsin and make sure that every single person living in Washington state is counted and pull down all of those federal dollars that we deserve to go back into our communities to make sure it's a better place. And if you're always looking for other ways to get involved, just go to uwkc.org. We have a ton of information about our work and opportunities to look at upcoming events and upcoming ways to stay involved and engaged.
Great points, Connor. And after the election, obviously you'll have new representatives potentially, and so I know Colleen does a great job, her and Nick, in advocating down in Olympia for some policy changes, and they do a day of action as well in January or February, but I'm sure Colleen can clarify for me as we get to the end. Rachel, same question. What are some ways and activities that organizations that offer to help people stay engaged with advocacy both before and beyond the election?
Yeah, so the Young Professionals Network is a part of the Seattle Chamber, and the Seattle Chamber's mission is business advocacy for organizations and members that help thrive in this equitable and inclusive regional economy. So what they are looking at is public policies that help our communities grow and expand in an equitable and inclusive way. So we provide information on local issues to chamber members at free monthly business issue forums. We've also got updates on issues at all levels on our chamber website, which is a great resource. We also have an easy to use letter writing tool for certain issues as well. So it means that you can do some easy advocacy work. There's a public policy issue that the chamber's got on their website. You just type in your name, your email address, and your zip code, and you press send, and it goes off to the elected official in question. A good way to find out more about that is on the Twitter account, which I will post, and then I will also share the YPN event, YPN website as well. We do have a lot of really interesting events. We do some great meet and greets with public officials as well, local and state and federal. So it's a great way to stay informed.